Hey everyone, welcome back to my workbench. Been testing out my little portable system here. The problem I'm running into is this boost converter here and regulator. It's just being driven way too hard, and it's actually getting hot. I'm getting a bunch of undervolt warnings off of the Pi itself, so I think it's got to come out, and I'm going to replace it with the original converter here that came with this little power supply. I just don't think it's got the cojones to do it. It just keeps on giving me a bunch of battery warnings, and it's just not good, man. Not good at all. So, going through now, I got to pry everything up and do some resoldering. Why is my iron set so high? Now, I was hoping to finish this off, and it works, but this part's getting awfully hot, and I really don't want to risk setting this thing on fire, and the Pi is not happy, and I just cracked off that connector too, so that one's done. Luckily, plenty of spare USB cables and whatnot. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can solder. See, that's some quality there. I'm going to disconnect this guy. Pry this off. I used a little too much hot glue. I'll be the first to admit that. So this little part just is not doing what I want to do. Disconnect the positive first. That guy, get him out of the way. This guy here. Just gonna snip this off and restrip. Man, it's still hot. Ooh. The main regulator's still smoking hot here. Yikes. Okay, that was trashed. Alright. So the other guy is the one that actually came with it on this charger. So B plus is on the left. Luckily it's still a micro USB or C for charging, but the nice thing is they did put on a soldering points for the voltage out, so that's kind of nice. Stripper. I hope people can hear me. Let's put this back. Okay, so I'm pulling out I'm installing the original pack. Hopefully the Pi doesn't care. It's just 5 instead of 5.1. We'll see. It is a USB 3 charger. It's blue, so that's a good sign. I mean, it should be able to kick out 3 amps. If it doesn't, then I can always go back in here and there's a ground point here. It's kind of nice. They have nice points on here. Come on. Ground, and they have a V out here. Very nice. They must have anticipated some happy hackers out there to splice in some wires directly. Ground. Need to solder, get more solder on this. Tin this up first. Yeah, so at first I thought the voltage warnings were due to something else, but I think it's this just overloading this power regulator. Okay. Yeah. Worst comes to worst, I can always hook in a little switch to bump it. Usually it'll turn on automatically, but we'll see. If it doesn't, I'll hotwire a little reset switch in there. Not a huge deal. I've done stuff like that before. Yeah, they even give you a solder pad for it. Huh, that's actually pretty well designed. Should have gone with that in the first place. Tin this guy up. It should be, it was a fairly decent battery pack I took apart, so with USB-C output on it. Little solder splash there. Alright. What are you? You are a USB hub. Get you out of the way. You can see how tightly packed everything is in here. Get you out of the way a minute. Get this out of the way a minute. Let's see. Whatever, let's get the negative hooked up first. Whenever you do these negative first, because you want a path. So if you don't, what happens is all the power will flow through the your soldering iron, and you'll blow up your something. See how good of a joint that is. Not the best. Get a little more solder on there. Stand up there a second. A little more heat. Solder's supposed to flow nicely. Yeah, almost like a bright. Should be very bright and shiny when you're done. Not dull. If it's dull, that means you don't have a very good contact. Maybe. There we go. How's she doing? Got any juice? Yeah, she does. Fully charged. I thought it was fully charged. So I was surprised to see the... Let's see what kind of voltage output she's kicking out. Lots of times these will have load sensing, just so you don't have to press the button. So we'll see. Alright, ground. You can see it's a chassis here. It's all the same plane. Grab this guy here. And then V out is stopped outputting. It's the monitoring voltage. There we go. When she's kicking out, she's kicking out. 5.03, that's solid. I just don't know if it has load sensing or not, because if it does, we're all set. Because load sensing will allow it to automatically come on. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to go back in here and hotwire a little switch and have like one more button over here to bump it to turn it on. Let's see if I can get this put back together again. Come on, Humpty Dumpty. I'm not going to hot glue anything down yet because I want to make sure this works first. And this is HDMI port out. Yeah. A lot of stuff in here, man. A lot of stuff in here. Yeesh. Okay, and this is the hard part, getting it folded all back together again. So I gotta plug in the screen, the Pi. The screen is here. The screen's got an input. The Pi, of course, needs power. Power up the Pi. And come on, get in there. Angles are hard to get at. Power up the Pi. That might be where the buzzing is coming from. Might be hitting against there. And the button on the HDMI. Power and HDMI splitter. Tack all this down nice later. And this is the external charge port that goes in there. Is your D up or D down? D's up. Flip that over so it's plugged in. Let's see if it's got load sensing or not. And it does. Good. Pi is not flashing. That's a good sign. Okay. That's a real good sign. Ooh, look at that glare. This is just, well, I gotta tack everything down in here, man. This happens to be the latest version of Raspberry Pi. That's sorry, Retro Pi, I should say. How's it doing in here? Whoa. Okay, where's the screen, guys? Pi is off. Okay, so Pi's on, screen's on. So the question is, does it stay on, or is it powering down and I need to go through the USB port? Hope not. Shouldn't. Electrically, it should be identical point. You see, it just turned off again. Well, shoot. So the main regulator is not outputting enough. Well, I'll have to think about this one. Well, that's the nice thing about working on projects for yourself. You got all the time in the world to think about it. So it's dropping down to 3 volts. It's not sensing it correctly. So I'll try doing it through the USB port instead. It's relatively easy. That's this guy here. Open her back up, power's off. Tight, 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 tight in here. Now, do I need to pull that off? Probably. Come on, baby. Snap off on me. You know what? You're staying in there for now. Alright, so desolder those two. Get this HDMI cable all the way. Come on, why don't you want to come straight out? I don't want to break my Pi. Okay, that one, that one, and that one. Okay, we're back open again. Get this guy out of the way. Luckily, stuff's all low voltage. Not much chance of you zapping yourself. Much chance. Alright, let's see what happens here. Where'd the USB cable go? There you are. Not the thickest USB cable, but we'll see what happens here. Do I have a thicker one in here somewhere? You look a little more beefy. Let's see. I'm just thinking the load sensing is through USB, and it's not going to see it hot wired in. Let's test that theory. Yeah, this is a better cable. Other one there was a little hokey. Hokey is not what you want. Okay, let's solder this together. USB is a fascinating standard. It's a derivative of the old Atari 8-bit computer serial lines. Believe it or not, the peripherals on the Atari 8-bit used a dynamic addressed serial interface, and if that sounds familiar, it's because the guy who developed, I can't remember the engineer's name, the engineer who developed the Atari peripheral system, which include the drives, was the exact same guy who invented USB. So that's how you know one's a derivative of the other. Okay. But on the old Ataris, I think you could go up to 256 peripherals, or 255, just like a modern USB can. They get automatically enumerated when you plug them in. Neat standard. Such an improvement from having to do parallel and serial. Though serial is still around. Still use that for industrial uses. So at work we use RS-422. 4 megabaud, which is crazy. Quite quick. It's nothing like USB, but pretty damn fast considering it's a serial port. Let's see how well this works. Didn't expect this to be such a long video. Thought I was just going to show off what I was doing. Not so much. Come on, Captain. Let's see how this goes. Don't you like your home? I don't think this is overdriving it, especially if it's going to the USB 3 port. Should be able to drive all this, no problem. Okay, so that's that. That's ugly as hell. HDMI cord back here. So I've got the HDMI set to what's known as hot plug, which means it's always going to go to HDMI. It's not going to try to go to the what am I looking for? Not go to the composite port, because these Pis actually have a composite port and a straight up HDMI. Kind of cool, actually. I don't think the 4s have it. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know if they have a composite out still. I have a Pi 4. I'll take a look later. I need this power cord here. That's the power for the screen. Okay. Let's see if we can half-assedly tuck this in a minute. It's good. Sensed it. Came right up. Get a little bit of a voltage warning there. Not a lot though. If this gives me too many voltage warnings, what I'll do is I'll put an additional buck converter in there. Something like one of these guys here. This is pretty high powered if I remember correctly. Probably already set the 5.1 volts. I'll put a big old cap on there too. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because this I can just plug it into the output of the guy. That's good. I only had the one voltage warning. It's probably when I was enumerating the hub. Well, see, I still got voltage warning. Oh, went away. That's a good sign. Seems to get a few voltage warnings when it hits the SD card. Might not be a huge deal. I actually own this game, so that's why I'm playing it. This is Blue Lightning for the Atari Lynx. Oh good, I don't see any voltage warnings. That's a good sign. Can you believe this game's from 1989? That's insane. 32 years ago. Full scaling. I got a voltage warning there. It seems like it comes up when it hits the SD card. Okay, so that works. Alright, so for now I'm going to kind of tack everything down and zip tie everything down so it's neat and seal this thing up. It's good enough for now, I think. I'm never quite happy with everything I do, but oh well. Yeah, see when it's hitting the SD card. That's when. Okay, so it works. So I'm going to go through and finish cleaning this up. I'm going to zip tie a bunch of little zip ties in there. Use a little double-sided tape so nothing goes flopping around. So I was right, it was the USB is where it sends the load, not off those test points. So that's good. I don't need to have a bumper switch on the side. So I've had to do that before, but not for this one. So everyone, thanks for watching and have a great evening.